Welcome, friends. In today's episode, we're going to be exploring about self-compassion and the importance of being your own friend. First of all, I want to thank you all for coming back on. This is episode 2. I'm so excited. If you are watching this on YouTube, you will see that my setup and hopefully my camera is a little bit better. As I promised in the first episode, I'm going to be working on that every single time. So you will see me looking down at my notes every once in a while because, like I said, I'm still getting comfortable with this. So I appreciate you guys coming along with me to actually come and just explore. But on today's episode, we are going to be talking about learning how to be your own friend. And this is something that personally I have started on this new journey in my life right now. Because the fact that life has just been lifing, because life has been lifing, these are just certain things that you as a person on a self-learning, journey. They're so funny because I've actually, over the last probably about 4 or 5 years now, I have actually gone ahead and started to really be more aware of my surroundings. The people that I hang out with, the conversations that I'm having, the things I'm listening to, watching, all those things in general. Those are things that I've now started to pay attention to. And there are, as I stated in my first episode, there are a whole bunch of books and websites and fellow YouTubers and podcasters that I've been listening to over these last few years that have really put things into perspective. But what it comes down to, honestly, is that the number one thing you have to do is be open, being teachable, being available to do these things, because you could read all the books, you could listen to all the podcasts, you could have a million people, including myself, tell you a whole bunch of things of what you should be doing and how you should be doing. But at the end of the day, my friends, it really is just you. And if you're not comfortable being who you are, if you're not comfortable in the skin that God has given you, then it's going to be really, really difficult. And this is something that I personally had to learn, just overall. So that's why I was really focused on having this next few episodes really starting at the beginning. So the beginning of my personal journey, beginning on a journey that many people have to start at, including my clients. When I go ahead and I start with a new client, for example, my first 1 or 2 sessions with them is honestly just getting to know the person. Start building that foundation, start laying down those bricks for trust, and if you don't do those with yourself, and then with a trusted friend or a wellness coach, then, you're not going to be able to really see the results that you're hoping for. So it's kind of like an overall of what I was planning on talking about today. I'm hoping and praying that today's episode would be a little bit longer. As I stated, my first episode was shorter because I just wanted to have you guys get to know me, get to have a little touch of, who I am. So I'm a really big believer, like I said, I've listened to many podcasts and many books and things like that there's order that's needed in life. So I'll be doing, going forward on my podcast segments. I'm a big TV buff. I'm a big, like I said, reader, things like that. So having kind of like an organization or a segment, chapters or segment topics, really work really well for me, and it kind of helps to guide, and because some things may resonate with some people and some things may not, and I want to be able to allow for my listeners and for my viewers to be able to kind of take the nuggets of what they need, and apply them. So yeah, that's where we're going to be going here. So in today's episode, we are going to have 3 segments. Our first segment is going to be why be a friend to yourself. which is super important. And there's two components that kind of break into that. The next segment will be benefits of being a friend to yourself. There, there are so many, so many. I probably won't be able to put them all in this episode, but there are so many benefits to being your own friend, that you will learn over time. And then thirdly, practical steps on befriending yourself. Because again, we can talk about it, we could write down, but if there's no action that's actually being taken, you're really not going to see the results that you're hoping for. So my goal, not only as a wellness coach to my clients, a friend to my circle of friends, and most importantly to myself, is taking the action and applying it, like really, really applying it. That's really what is the most important, is really taking that action. So that is what we're going to be talking about today in those 3 segments. So segment 1, why be a friend to yourself? When you sit down and you take a moment and you kind of go back and you really decide to take the self-exploring journey in life, it doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter if you are 20 years young or 40 years old. It doesn't make a difference, because everybody's timing is when it should be. As I stated in my first episode, I am a woman of faith, so I believe that everything happens with purpose and reason. And when certain things happen in your life and you have that moment, or you have the decision that you decide, okay, now is the time for me to go ahead and start living the life I want to live. Or you have that moment and you're like, things don't seem right. Things don't seem to be adding up properly. That's the time when you need to go ahead and really do a self-dive. Really take a moment and look from within. And a lot of the times you don't know where to start, and that is what a big part of me as a wellness coach I'm here for. When you are part of a church, and or whoever you believe in, but if you're part of a church, a lot of the times it is spoken on how testimony is what is used to really invite people in, to trust you. Because will you honestly trust someone who may have never walked in the same steps? Will you trust someone who has never experienced the same things that you've experienced? So those are things that a lot of the time, is necessary. That's why when I decided and I came to the realization that I really wanted to do a podcast, or realization I really want to be a wellness coach, I really had to fight my self-doubt and fight my self-criticism, which is the first topic. And self-criticism, I'm going to read it here. Self-criticism is something that we do to ourselves, and that how we are so quick to be negative towards oneself. We are quick to look in the mirror and see everything that's wrong with us. But yet when we have friends, family, your children, your husband, your wife, when you have them in your life, you're so quick to shine on the positive. But yeah, we don't do it to ourselves. And self-criticism is the first thing that you really have to kind of tackle when you're looking to get started on this journey. When you're looking to be your own friend, you need to say the things to yourself that you say to others. You need to be able to look at yourself with a unjudgmental eye and see really what is beautiful about yourself, what is put together, by God, and that's something that a lot of people, including myself, really had a hard time doing. So that was the number one step that I needed to do, which was to watch how I spoke to myself. That leads into the second step, which is self-compassion. So self-compassion is something that, kind of goes hand in hand with self-criticism. You are real quick to criticize yourself, but yet at the same time, you're not as quick to be compassionate with yourself. Give yourself grace. Understand that, you know, you are perfect the way you are. You are made in God's image, so you're perfect in all that you do. And unfortunately, men and women nowadays are so quick to put a person down. And in reality, when you hear that over and over again, you start to think of those negative thoughts to yourself. And that is a big, big part of starting on this journey, is by going ahead and making sure that you are showing the same compassion that you would say to others, and go ahead and be able to be kinder. Self-criticism is when you are quick to criticize everyone and anything, about yourself. And then self-compassion is something that is needed when you are going ahead and you're self-criticizing yourself so much, but yet you're not giving yourself grace. So be compassionate with yourself. Stop with the negative talk. Start building practices that's going to allow for you to be kinder to yourself. And I think that is the one thing that personally I had to do on my beginning journey of self-love, and to go ahead and make sure that that's something that I wasn't just speaking on, that I was actually putting into practice.